Hey there, cats and kittens. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The MonkeyBoy Presents the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, and today we have issue number 14 of the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection, Dove. And this is a wonderful character, a really cool figure, and technically the second, or I suppose third, hero in the DCU to call herself Dove. The original Dove was actually a male, the brother to Hawk, whom we already covered here, Hank Hall. His brother was Don Hall, and this is Dawn Granger. Get it? Dawn and Dawn? For those of you who are aware of this character, of course you probably know the original Dove, who premiered once upon a time as Don. Don Hall, the original Dove, also appeared in animated form on a couple of episodes, if I'm not mistaken, of the Justice League Unlimited, which were really, really cool. There is also a version of Hawk and Dove that I think DC wants to forget about in the mid-90s that are nothing like the original Hawk and Dove or the current Hawk and Dove, Hank and Dawn, but they were there once upon a time. The magazine does not cover them, by the way. The magazine, however, does tell you everything you need to know about the current and technically second Dove, Dawn Granger, and then we'll take a look at the figure itself, covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. A cool character, a nice figure. Some issues I do have with it, but we'll get there eventually. Until then, sit back, relax, please enjoy issue number 14 of the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection by Eaglemoss, Dove. First up, the character section. Where we meet a young woman named Dawn Granger, who was a student at Oxford University, and whose mother worked for the U.S. State Department as a member of the American Embassy. One day her mother was taken hostage during a terrorist attack, and Dawn found herself completely powerless to help. Not even the local authorities were able to aid in any sort of rescue attempt of her mother or the others trapped within the embassy. This all took place during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and around the same time, the first Dove, Don Hall, was murdered by agents of the Anti-Monitor. Hank Hall, the hero known as Hawk, and brother to the original Dove, Don Hall, had an extremely hard time accepting Dawn as the new Dove, and resented her for trying to, as he felt, replace his brother. The new Hawk and Dove went on to take on the villain known as Kestrel, an agent of chaos, who sought to drive the pair apart, and even, for a short time, corrupted Hawk. We also learn of a time when Hawk and Dove were transported to another realm known as Druspa Tau, the home of the gods that had given the pair their powers. While in this other realm, Hawk and Dove encountered the Lord of Chaos and the Lord of Order, who had bestowed their powers upon the two mortals, and revealed to the pair that they had joined together to form a being of order and chaos known as the Unity. Shortly after encountering the Unity, Hawk and Dove will return to Earth, where they face down a villain known as the Monarch, who had traveled back through time in order to eliminate Dove. Dove's apparent death sent Hawk into a rage, and he battled Monarch across space and time until he learned that the villain was actually a future version of himself. After Extent's demise, members of the JSA tracked down Dawn Granger, who was revealed to have survived the attack from the Monarch, and once again became the hero known as Dove. Holly and Dawn fought crime as the new Hawk and Dove until the Blackest Night descended upon the DC universe, at which point the original Hawk was resurrected and ripped the heart out of Holly, the current Hawk. Holly was resurrected as yet another Black Lantern, and together the two evil Hawks pursued Dove until she unleashed her true powers, revealing that she was tethered to the light of creation and could destroy the Black Lanterns. She also grew extremely close to and eventually developed a romantic relationship with the hero Deadman, also known as Boston Brand. He had been resurrected during the Brightest Day, but ultimately sacrificed himself so that he could save Dawn's life. The pair finally confessed their love for one another as Deadman returned to the ethereal plane while Dawn was left alive on Earth. Next, we look at a few more stories from the event known as Brightest Day. This time, we look at Green Arrow, Brightest Day. This story occurs after the events of Blackest Night, and we find Green Arrow, also known as Oliver Queen, is now protecting a forest in the shape of a star that has grown in the middle of downtown Star City. We find Oliver Queen as the Green Arrow becoming a much more Robin Hood type of character, protecting and patrolling this forest that has grown in the middle of his city. He also gives up his fortune and his company in order to become this Star Forest protector. Over the course of the story, he ends up fighting against members of the Black Lantern Corps, the demon known as Etrigan, and ultimately learns that this forest was created by the being known as Swamp Thing, who has been selected to become the new entity of life, or White Lantern, on Earth. It's a beautifully illustrated story, and if you're a fan of Green Arrow, you owe it to yourself to check this one out. This issue's iconography section looks at the death and rebirth of the original Wonder Girl, Donna Troy. Although Donna Troy has experienced several different lives, this focuses on her death at the hands of the evil cyborg Superman. We discover that after her apparent death, she was reborn as one of the Titans of Myth and was called Troia. The Titans of Myth lived for conquest and eventually turned their sights towards the Earth. It was then that Donna encountered members of the Teen Titans and the Outsiders, who were overjoyed at learning that she was somehow still alive. At first, Donna fought against them, but as she battled against her protege, the current Wonder Girl, Cassie Sandsmark, she came to her senses and realized that she was actually being used by the Titans of Myth. Lastly, the Friends and Foes section features the Blue Lantern, Brother Worth, the Green Lantern, Sodom Yat, and Yellow Lantern, Karu Sill. And here we have Dove, also known as Dawn Granger, and another really cool figure in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day subseries, and I'm so glad they decided to not just do Hawk or Dove, but they gave us the pair as it should be. You know, you never know. I know that sounds paranoid of me, but you never know. Sometimes they don't finish these things once they've started them. But Dawn here, fantastic interpretation of the character. I love the costume. The colors are really nice. The blue of her outfit is a perfect shade of blue. It's like a sky blue, but it has a glossiness to it that is really unique, and it really sets it apart somehow. I also love the white of the costume. It's a semi-gloss, and the cape has a great texture to it. It looks like a fabric. And the hair color, you can see, is a slightly different white from the white of her costume. So it's all broken up. The mask is nice all the way down to the boots. And she's also pretty petite, which you'll see here in the next section in a second. Yeah, I like this figure a lot. You know, she's simple, definitely. And like I said with Hawk, I don't know that they are for everyone. But she's pretty freaking cool, I think. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I do and what I don't like here in the next section in a moment. Dove stands atop the White Lantern logo, and the underside of the base features her name and serial number. And to give you a sense of size and scale, here she is with her partner, Hawk, alongside her friend and romantic interest, Deadman. A group shot with the Teen Titans that have been released so far as part of the Eaglemoss collection. And a big group shot with the other members of the Birds of Prey. Dove is a very nice figure and another welcome addition to the Blackest Night, Brightest Day. She is really cool for what she is, although she is inherently simple by design, and I will admit she, like Hawk, is not necessarily for everyone, but what is here is very good. And we'll begin with the good. I really think the sculpt is outstanding on her. The musculature, the costume, all the details are really nicely done. The facial sculpt as well. The paint is clean, and the deco is perfect, the blue and white. The details, the textures, the shadowing and shading, I just think it's a really nice looking figure. The boots, as I said, are great. The white is not glossy, but it has a great texture to it, so it looks like a leather or some sort of textured fabric. And it has a great feathering sort of pattern, where the white meets the blue of the rest of the costume, and the blue is also well done. A semi-gloss, it is a nice shade of blue. It's hopeful in some sense. The white of the gloves and of the midsection are also that same sort of textured white, and I like how the logo of the Dove is present on her midsection. You can see she has great musculature, her abs, her upper body, her arms, all nicely done. Both hands have detailed fingers and those white gloves, and the cape itself also is that textured white. Love how it's sort of feathered looking. It's a short cape above her waist, and there is a little bit of a fold ridge in there as though it's blowing around slightly. There's also a nice pearlescent button in the center of the cape, right underneath the collar, which is great. A nice detail. It's straight out of the comic books. Finally, the head sculpt looks just like Dawn. She has a very hopeful look to her. The skin tone is nice. The mask is perfect. I like how the eyes of the mask are a pearlescent white, and how her hair is pulled back in that ponytail, and it too is a slightly different white color than the rest of the costume, so it stands out. There's a little detail to her ears, her cheekbones, her chin. Her lips are colored and detailed, and she has a little bit of a smile, and it just looks like Dawn to me. It's a really nice figure. On to the bad. Really, the only thing I can sort of nitpick is the pose. It's a little bit boring and static. Otherwise, she is nearly perfect. Finally, the ugly. The only thing to watch out for would be the hands. You want to make sure they aren't too badly webbed or gnarled if you can before you purchase. Otherwise, she's really solid. Overall, I love Dove. I think it's a great figure. I love this character. I love this duo of Hawk and Dove, and it's so cool to have the pair of them. The only perplexing thing to me would be why they were included in this collection. I mean, I'm not knocking having them. I really am happy to have them, but I don't see why they couldn't have been a part of the regular Eaglemoss collection and free up 2 spots for a couple of other true lanterns. But I'm still happy to have them. They are the last of the white lanterns, quote-unquote, in this collection. It's neat to play out the scenes from the comic books where Captain Boomerang is hurling his boomerang at Dove. If you like to display your figures, you can always do that. And she's just very clean, very near perfect, and I like her. So if you know her, you dig this character, this storyline, pick her up, add her to your personal collection, and I hope you have enjoyed my review of Dove, the 14th figure in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection by Eaglemoss. Please stay tuned for a quick teaser trailer of the next figure in the regular Eaglemoss collection. Another female figure and a villainess, which is always exciting, and the first villain that is a nemesis of Wonder Woman, which is long overdue in my opinion. So please stay tuned for that teaser. As always, I am your host, the MonkeyBoy, aka J to his friends. Thanks for watching.